Hello, all of you out there. This is my first of a couple videos I want to make. Um, if you're watching this, amazing. If not, damn. But we're gonna not get into that. But so I'm like I saw a couple of these around. I thought maybe I should do it, but I don't want a particular group to find out I'm making these and then somehow find a way to find me. Um, so as the name implies, I am the secret patriot, or it's kind of like the name I was kind of stuck with. But I used to be on that TikTok and all that, but that didn't really work out too well. They kind of found that, and then they reported all my videos, so I got taken off of that. Kind of sucks, but it's whatever. Um, I wanted to describe the my life, I guess, like a story, raise awareness or something. Growing up, I again had like your black and white childhood. I lived, played played Xbox. I got a job relatively young age, working with my family. I lived, but about the age of 17, a school idea came along. Like I always wanted to go into the military personally, but you see, my mother had different ideas. She wanted me to become like a minister of God style thing, and she believed in the Pentecostal Christian ways. Pretty much standard Christians, holy rollers, I guess as you call them. But yeah, she wants on thing for a ministry school down in Alabama. And I know there was a couple down there. Some were good, some were bad. But the way these people portrayed themselves was something completely different than what actually went on there. And I would like to like make awareness for this, I guess, because this is something that's kind of getting out of hand. It's been out of hand. It's just getting crazy. Um, so when I was 17, my mother brought this idea to me. I could leave home early and go into this school in Alabama for about 9 months, and I could like learn about God. I was never much of a. I'm not gonna get into that, but I was never much of a Christian child. That's your average everyday rebellious 17-year-old. But my mother saw it fit that I should go to this, and I thought maybe it's a way to leave home early, start my life. So I did it, and I'm recording this on my phone, so it's a wobbly, but it doesn't matter. So I did it, and first, now let me kind of put a little backstory on this. These people portrayed themselves to be like Christian people, holy people, right? And I knew something was off really as soon as I got there. Uh, you see, when we got in there, right, they took us all, there's dozens of us, I'd say at least maybe 100. And we would like, they brought us all in, they told us how the school would work. We're going to learn about God. Like they said, they're very pushy about it. I thought to myself, okay, I can get that. I grew up around that, right? These people claim to be messengers from God. They all pray, devote their lives to God, right? They said, but there'll be certain things you have to do. Nothing crazy, a little bit of fasting here and there, a little bit of self deprivation, that kind of thing. And, like, they told us, like, how do I say this? They told us that we needed to sign a waiver saying they could punish us in any way they seem fit. When we all kind of were taken back by this, we said, what kind of punishments? So, oh, we'll, like, maybe take your phone from you, uh, may kind of ground you to the grounds that are like the dorm area, which was we all stayed in the same building, just different like areas of it. And so all of us foolishly agreeing to this. Well, for the first, I want to say week, it was relatively normal. We'd all wake up around the same time, all get dressed in a uniform that they made us wear, all go to classes for like 12, 13 hours, and write notes. That's when they started cracking down over the first week. Uh, I'm gonna little disclosure here. This place was like a cult. Basically, it was. We went about 13 hours every day, except for Saturdays. Saturdays we got to sit down and think and, I guess, revel on our weeks long learning. And then they would quiz us. Now, if you're like me, you're ADHD or ADD, OCD, got kind of wrong side of my head, then you have like concentration issues. That caused a big problem for me, especially with these people. So they took my phone, and I really did not get it back for like a month. So, did that. Okay. Went through my day in and day out motions. I started hearing a lot of rumors about certain punishments. I didn't really believe them. Things that were crazy. And they, like, they were getting a lot more verbally abusive towards a lot of us. Threatening to send us all to hell, that kind of thing. How God told them to do certain things. Now, if you're like me, I kind of took it. I'm like, whatever. Said it. I'm a pretty strong-minded person. So that took me a little bit to get. But I'm not going to bore you with a lot of details. Basically, our morning routine was we had to wake up. And woke up at 6:30 if I'm correct. Every day except for Fridays, we got to wake up at 7. And we woke up. We had to read our Bibles for 2 hours. Okay. We then, that leaves us at 8:30ish, 9 some days. Okay. We had to get up. We had to then report to our, we all kind of call it, he didn't really have an official title. We all joke, called him headmaster. As a joke. He didn't like that title, but that was just our thing. And we had to report to him about what we had read in detail, how we felt spiritually. If you're like me, you kind of feel like God's kind of screwed you over most of your life, then you really didn't feel much. He didn't like that too much. He said I needed to pray more. Okay, gotcha, boss. I'm going to go to class. Went to class, and it was about 9 that night, 10 o'clock. I got taken away from the group. They sat me down. They wanted to discover, they wanted to go into my head about what is wrong with me. Now, I can't really fathom a lot of their questions, did you feel this way? Did you feel that way? What did you read? What words did stand out to you the most? I just told them what I read. That's it. Me and God were never, commingled, I guess you could say. Then I spent, the next 30 minutes getting blasted at them from, how they hear God daily, how they do all this stuff daily. And then it confused me, honestly, from what I was reading in my Bible to what they were telling me was two different things. And I tried to point that out to them. This was the first time they struck me across the face. I got a nice crack in the mouth for that one. For telling them this is not what I'm reading. And, I mean, that was something that I was taken back by. And I still didn't have my phone at this time. And I still remember the words. It was you will not talk back. You will not doubt what we say, because what we say is law. We hear from God daily. You don't. And until you start doing so, you're going to hell. Now, I took that as okay. They're just trying to drill it in like a drill sergeant. Okay, so I can handle that. Okay. I then learned, after getting my phone back for a month, the punishments have been things like yelling, all that. The first time I got hit, I was like, what the heck's going on? So about after a month, I started to realize, they were cracking down. I started hearing from other people, they were slapping people, shoving them around, getting in their face. Got my phone back, and I realized they were, they'd taken on my old social media account, posted pictures I had on my phone, whole shabak, right? So, basically when I was kind of confused at first. Then I realized, okay, they're watching our social medias, can't really do nothing about it. They're watching everything we call, we post. They somehow got on to where they could do everything we want. They were monitoring everything we were doing. Okay? Now, that was the first fast. After that first month, they all called us up. They said, okay, no, this is kind of sudden, but we're going to start our annual fast. I said, okay. I've never once fasted in my life. For those of you who don't know, a fast is where you don't eat at all, not a bite. And they said 2 weeks, no eating. How this is going to work is you're going to be able to drink a water bottle a day at most. Then At the end of the 2 weeks, you're allowed to eat small meals, not large portions, small meals. Then for the remainder week of the month, you're allowed to eat what you want. Then it starts up again. So if you don't know much about the human body, basically that is highly like, that can kill you if done. It's malnourishment. So a lot of us, some of us were really prepped for this kind of life. Didn't eat much. I mean, I personally hadn't really went. I'd always had a pretty good life. I'd always had 3 meals a day, sometimes only 2, but I still ate plenty. I was a good eater. And then like to go 2 weeks without eating, like not even a warning, that set me back. And I said, "Hey guys, this is my." I told them about my situation. Then they proceeded to take me to the head honcho, like the guy who was over everything. I don't know any of these people's names. They never gave their real names. They only gave like fake names like Bill, Joe, Gary. None of these names are real. So he took me to him, and then I proceeded to get yelled at and yelled at. And then when I said, "I've never done this before, can you please just cut me some slack?" That was whenever they started beating me. I got a nice little punch in the stomach for that one, claiming I'm not supposed to talk back to God's messenger, that kind of thing. And it kept going on like that. Like, I got to get a couple punches. I backed down because I was scared to death. I'm a kid. I'm scared to death of being hit by a grown-ass man. So I backed down, started doing what they were saying. I can honestly say it lasted about a week. I lasted a solid week before I got so hungry that I started eating. I was eating a little bit. Then they caught me, doing number 2, taking a shit. And they said, "We have a perfect punishment for this." They didn't tell me when it would happen. They said, "You're going to be punished for this." They then proceeded to take me to my dorm room and lock me in. The other guys in the room kept looking at me, and they were like, "Did you get caught?" I said, "Yes." They said, "What's going to happen?" I said, "I don't know. They didn't tell me." Now, I slept in my drawers, boxers only, stayed there, and then in the middle of the night, they proceeded to wake me up by flipping me out of my bed. They picked me up, dragged me down. I'm in a daze. I just got flipped out my bed in the middle of a deep sleep. You know how your mind gets. Like, most people you will understand, some of you don't. Sorry, I don't. There's no way to describe it. So basically, I got flipped out my bed. They were whispering something. And then they took me all the way down to the bottom level. Now, if I can explain the layout, basically, we all met up in a church. How we even got to the place we're at, okay, pause. How we even got to the place we're at is we were met at a church. We were then driven in a van, like an hour out of it, middle of nowhere, to like this big, like, it looked like one of those schools you'll see at, like you see in the movies, like out in the middle of the woods. Nowhere. Fences. It looked nice, but it put a lot of question. Like, it's a big gated in building kind of style thing. So I'm taken to this place I've never been to, part of the building, taken downstairs. Then they open up a big, thick wooden door, probably about like that thick, full of wood, probably about 1.5 inches. And they drag me down it, click the lights on through some switch they had upstairs, dropped me there. If I can describe this room, it's basically it's like a concrete box. That's the only way I can really describe it. And the concrete box, it's a basement. No carpet, no nothing but one light. And when I tell you it's freezing down there, like, it was cold. And basically, you're down there. The only thing they told me was you're not allowed to speak, you're not allowed to make noise, and you'll be down here for 2 weeks. Pitch black. In the cold, you're freezing your ass off. Down there for 2 fucking weeks. Now, for me, I'm scared to death. I don't know what's going on. I completely was in a daze. They threw me down, said, we'll be back. They walked up there, shut the door. That was the last time I saw any light, because they shut the lights off. You're in pitch black darkness. My eyes eventually adjusted to it, but it was really weird. And it was like, it's like super cold, freezing. My drawers, freaking almost naked, basically. That was the first time I honestly, like I was scared and like getting hurt, but I was never feared, like, I never felt that kind of fear in my life. Then they proceeded, probably for about 5 days. 5 days. Door opens up at the top and they drag another guy down who I slept in the same room it's in. Like, there was 7 of us in a room, each room. They dragged him down, same way they dragged me down, threw him down, said explain the rules to him. Walked back upstairs. I told him what was going on. He started panicking. And I kept trying to calm him down, yelling, telling him to shut up. We gotta stay quiet, stay quiet. Then about an hour into him being down there, he starts hyperventilating because I don't know what his thing was, but like he was severely freaking out, like he was having a panic attack. Then the lights cut on, like I'm talking, it was like a flash, and the lights were back on, blind you. You're in a daze, they're coming back down. They grab him, they grab me. They didn't take us upstairs. They came down there, beat the ever-living fuck out of me. They ended up, like, bruising several of my ribs. This entire set of my ribs, like it hurt. They were kicking, punching, stomping, slapping, yelling something about how I'm going to hell. Just stuff like that. Stuff that mentally messes you up. Then they didn't touch him. They just did it to me. They looked at him and said, you keep talking. Unless you are praying, you are not allowed to speak. And if you are praying, you do it silently. But if you talk one more time, that's going to be you. I'm looking at him. I got blood dripping down my face from how many times they stomped me. I got my ribs are bruised. Like, everything about me is nothing but pain. They even broke one of my pinkies. Yeah, this one. And, like, I'm laying there in pain. They don't do jack shit. They walk their ass back up the stairs, cut the lights off. Next thing I know, my buddy is dragging himself over to me, and he's like trying to like prop my head up. I'm out of it. I'm in pain beyond you can really ever understand. I'm out of it. Picks my head up. I remember laying in his lap, and then he'd like reset my pinky somehow. And we stayed like that for I want to say for a solid 9 more days. We moved around a little bit. There was a toilet you could use, but like you can hardly see. And then they opened the door. They cut the lights on, opened the door, said, come on up. We both walked up there. He didn't even serve full 14 days. I did. But they got us both up there. And they said, okay, you broke the rules, learn next time. They said it'd be worse for you next time. Ate a little bit, got our strength back up. Then me and him, we were rough looking. I remember going to sleep that night up in my bed. And like, it felt alien to me. Like it was a completely different feeling. Then, I woke up like probably in the middle of the night to my buddy who like helped me, like shaking me awake, saying we gotta check you out. A couple of the other guys in my room got up too, and they like were like looking at, because I had like cuts, scrapes, like they were making sure I wasn't completely like bleeding on the inside, and patched me up a little bit, wrapped up some like cloth around the bleeding parts, even though they were already basically all stopped bleeding. It was just like they wrapped it up, I guess, for look. I don't know what their ideas was. And yeah, I sat like that for a while. Took some time to heal up. By the time I was halfway healed, started up again. The 2 week no eating fast. I didn't last any of them. For 9 months, I lived like this. This is episode 1 of probably a couple part series. I mean, next episode I might go into a little more detail. Maybe about the other things that happened like within the second and third month. But that's pretty much it for the first month. Just trying to really let people know like there are people like this in the world. And we're not all nice people. You can't trust people. You gotta look into these kind of things, because if not, you'll get fucked up. Well, to whoever actually watched this video, I appreciate y'all watching. I'm not gonna ask for a like and subscribe because I'm not that kind of guy. If you honestly want to keep watching, you do you, dude. Or do that. If you don't watch another one. Have a good night, y'all.